Hi, I'm Corey,
Hi, I'm Madeline.
and this is our thingy project for math. This is our guest, Shiraki.
That's numero uno.
He hasn't had math yet, so we're going to talk to him about the fourth dimension.
But first, we should ask him what he knows about dimensions in general.
What do you know about dimensions, Shiraki?
Well, all I know about dimensions is that dimensions are maybe I just know like 3D, and maybe the movie the fourth dimension, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, first off, I'm going to start with I'm going to put it over here on the fancy mirror we have here. I'm going to talk to you about the zero dimension.
Zero dimension.
Yeah, zero dimension would be a dot.
Dot.
A figurative point. Can you see that on there? Yes, you can.
Yes.
It's right by Maddie's face in the reflection. See, a point
Can be
would be
Pac-Man.
the zeroth dimension because it has like no dimension. It's just a point, you know, it's one fraction big. Well, if you take that point and drag it across
You enter the first
into
dimension.
the first dimension, giving you length. So the first dimension is length. Are you following?
Uh-huh.
But you don't have height, width,
Anything like
taste,
that?
sound, smell.
So really there's only two
theoretically.
dimensions like left, or one dimension this way.
Okay.
Now what you do is you drag this, like assume that this whole thing is going to be dragged and smear like this, and it'll make this type of shape, which has two dimensions. It's a two-dimensional figure, because you have like length and you have width.
Uh-huh.
That's
Are
what
you
I'm
following me? Do you understand? Like,
Kinda.
kind of?
What
Okay,
don't
just
you- what-
ask about it then.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, you know who I am. I'm just like the dumbest person in the world.
Okay, well, it's just like dimensions in general. Like, we'll start again. The zero dimension is just a point. Now, to move into the first dimension, I would have to indeed give it dimension.
Uh-huh.
And what would you do to achieve that?
When I look at dimensions, like length, width, height, those are dimensions.
Oh, uh-huh.
So this has no dimension because it has no like length, width, height, anything like that. It's just a point.
It's just there.
Correct.
Now, if you take that point and drag it, you then give it one dimension. It has the dimension of length.
Yes.
Now, if you want to move into the second dimension, you would give it height.
Uh-huh.
So this shape is a two-dimensional shape because it has length and width, but it doesn't have height. Like it doesn't. If it were to move in this direction, we'd have three dimensions. So anything on a flat plane is technically two-dimensional.
Okay.
Do you understand? You follow
Yeah.
that? Like
Yes.
anything 2D. Like have you played a 2D game? There's like a background and then there's you.
Mhm.
And you only move like this way. Now it's like up, down, left, and right. Well, if you want to move into the third dimension, you know how I said to drag it this way. You have to drag it this way, and what you would have is a cube, a regular cube, which looks something like. This isn't an actual cube. This is a flat
Interpretation.
representation of a cube.
Yeah.
However, using skills of origami, one can make one. However, I do not possess these skills.
So that is a cube. What it does is it creates a third dimension of
Yes.
like depth.
Mm-hmm.
So you have we live in
Yeah.
a three-dimensional world.
Yes, we do.
We live in the third, but there is a theoretical principle that there is a
Fourth.
fourth dimension.
And what does that entail?
It's what if there were another dimension that we are unaware of, that
Yeah.
we can't see because we are third-dimensional creatures. Explain it like this: flatland. Okay. Imagine that this mirror right here is a world, a flat world with only two-dimensional creatures. You have circles, you have squares, triangles. You have the whole.
But they're all flat.
They're all flat. So what they see, what they only see is like the side, like because there's no depth to them. You understand?
Yeah. Mhm.
So they're flat creatures in this flat world. So they have no idea what this idea of depth is.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you were to take one of these creatures, and because we obviously know that there is
Yeah.
a third dimension,
Mm-hmm.
Look at us.
there is this dimension up here that they are unaware of because they only live on this two-dimensional plane. So if you were to take one of them and flick them up in the air, they would be in this crazy, unexplainable world of, what is this up and down? What is this crazy nonsense of depth? So what if we were to take that principle and then insert it into our three-dimensional world? What if there's a dimension that we are unaware of that is actually has other beings and anything living in it that can look into us as these three-dimensional creatures, but they're actually fourth-dimensional?
Theoretically, they can look through us. Like, even if I was holding this in front of me, they could see through it, and they could see through me, and they'd see all these crazy other dimensions to it.
I can explain that. If you were to, say we take a look at a two-dimensional creature like this, this would be like its skin, and then its organs would have to be inside of it. Now to them, they wouldn't see these organs because they can only see flat, like this.
And they would
can't
need
see
no
over the
layer of
top.
skin protecting them because what's there to
All
harm
they
them?
could see is the skin. So technically, if I were to be facing this person in Flatland, I would see a line because all I could face is them and they would just see a line. Now, what if there's a fourth dimension that looks into us like we look into the second dimension? So they could see our organs, our blood circulating and everything, but we're just in here. We can't see it because we don't understand this fourth dimension that figuratively exists.
Okay.
Are you understanding where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Okay, so give me a run back right now.
Give
How?
you a run back?
Yeah, give me a run back of the dimension.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, well, what
What
is
do they
like a
entail?
zero dimension? What would that be?
0 dimension?
Yeah, the zero dimension would be
Just a dot.
a dot, a point that represents, that's nothing. It's a point. I'll make it bigger so you can see it. Okay, and then to bring it into the first dimension, what would I have to do?
Add link from where?
Well, just,
No, just a line.
Just, okay, just link
Just-
this.
Add length.
So now it's a first dimensional creature.
Mhm.
It can move left or right. That's all it knows.
Mhm.
Now to bring it into the second dimension, I would have to, again, follow the principle and move it into a new direction, making a square. And to bring that into the third dimension, what would we have to do?
Turn it into a cube.
But how would you go about pulling it out?
What do you mean?
Like how
You
would
know
you go
how
about
we took a
making?
line and we smeared it up in a new direction? You take this and you smear it into the new direction.
Mhm.
So I would have to like pull that out
Mhm.
into like a cube. Now to draw a picture in the fourth dimension, it would look something like this. You would have a cube. Here, first off, we'll draw, never mind, I'll just do it. We'd have a cube here. A wonderful cube. And then you would have another cube,
Over there.
and you'd have to connect these cubes by their vertices, like this.
Ding.
We can't perceive how it would work because we are three-dimensional creatures, so we don't really understand it. You know, all these crazy-looking lines that are connecting all over the place, we can't really picture it.
We don't know what it.
It would,
What's
we
it
can
like?
theorize what it would look like.
Mhm.
I watched a video on the fourth dimension. This wasn't in class, I'm sorry. I studied outside, I hope you don't mind. But it was talking about how if we are to take an image that's three-dimensional and change it two-dimensional, it's not true to the original, what it is. It's like if I draw a cube like this, what's true about a cube is a cube in the third dimension has all 90-degree angles. This obviously does not, because I'm drawing a 2D representation of an actual cube. So these are not all 90-degree angles.
Mhm.
They represent 90-degree angles, but they are not. So if you were to have a fourth dimensional object, we could only if we were to cast its shadow, it would look something like this. I don't remember what this is called though. It's like a tetrahedron. Remember what it's called?
Tetrahedron.
Tetrahedron, that's what it is, a tetrahedron. It would look something like this. You gotta picture this as smaller
Mhm.
because it's further away.
Oh, maybe like.
Yeah, it's further away. It's easier to picture like this. It's still confusing ass drawing.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sir, I said ass. This is just difficult to draw. But you would have essentially what looks like a cube inside of another cube.
Attached to the
And then
outside
they would
cube,
all be attached to corresponding vertices like this.
which creates even more.
Tetrahedron. And essentially, what we can't understand it because we can't see it right, but these would all be 90-degree angles. So this is a cube right here, this is a cube right here, this is a cube right here, here, on the other side of here, and also, are you understanding what I'm,
Mhm.
there's an artwork, this drawing this guy did, it was like cube, 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 it was cool.
Was it by M.C. Escher?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm
Possibly.
just
Most likely.
creating. But that's our basic rundown of the fourth dimension.
Wow.
Are you intrigued?
Kind
Do you
of.
feel like you could talk about another thing? This wasn't brought up in class, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. A lot of people have tried to use this theory of the fourth dimension to explain a lot of paranormal activities, like the West Virginia Mothman, any